My name is Dan Cummings, and this is my 1978 MG Midget. The parts of the car that remain MG is all the bodywork that's green. The fender flares are hilariously large and were added with sheet metal. And then the steering rack and steering column are still MG, and the headlights are still Lucas, and taillights. But everything else pretty much has been turned into Mazda or custom fabrication. The rear end is a Mazda Miata Type 2 Torsen. It's from a 1996 M Edition. And the car weighs about 1,580 pounds. The rotary engine was actually in a prior Grassroots Motorsports project car, an RX-7 project car they had, and they were going a different direction with the project, so they sold the engine and transmission on the forum, and I picked it up for 1,800 bucks and put it in the car. It had a 12A before, but this is a big upgrade over a carbureted 12A. So this car has been used for a lot of different events. The first kind of big event I ran it at, I used it at the Autocross Nationals in 2017, Cone Wars. So that was kind of when the build first got done. Famously, my co-driver at Autocross Nationals made a blooper reel of driving the car. He overdrove it quite a lot, and it slid all over the place, and he ended up hitting a cone, and we didn't have the windshield on it, and the cone flew up and landed in the passenger seat next to him. And there's a video on the internet of him picking up the cone and throwing it out of the car. I used it at local autocross for quite a while, but then I started getting into track days with it, and it's ran probably 20 track days. I've ran it at Autobahn, Gingerman, Groton, been at National Corvette Museum, and I'm really excited. After the challenge, we're going to go to the firm, and I'll be able to see how it compares to my other build, the LMP 360 at the firm. I ended up bringing it, this is kind of my backup car now. I built the LMP 360 is going to become my primary race car. So the intention is to modify this one a little and reconfigure the roll bar and seats so it becomes a little more comfortable for street use, so I can kind of increase usage of it on the street. It is a bit like a Miata turned up to like 15. It's stiffly sprung, but it's really well balanced. Everyone I've had drive it is surprised by how neutral it is. You can coax it into oversteer or understeer, but it's just very well balanced. The engine power Rotaries are known for making very linear torque, and it's really well balanced to the weight of the chassis. So you can really drive it with the throttle and get it into mild oversteer and just really drive it around with power. So that's really nice. The brakes, being designed for a 2,400 pound Miata, it's got plenty of braking. It's got a Willwood pedal cluster with properly sized master cylinders, so the braking bite and feel is really good, and so you can really brake hard. And because the track is so wide and it's so low, particularly on a racetrack, there's not an apex you can't hit. It's just, you can always turn in harder, you can always turn more. Historically, it's kind of, being a 1978 MG Midget, it's not expected to be pretty fast, but on most road courses, it turns close to C506 lap times. So, the big learnings from this car were to embrace, when you have to redo something, figure out why you had to redo it. So with this car, a good example is the, usage, the changes of the rear axle. Let's take that. I tried the MG axle, I broke it. Then I figured out why. I tried a different solution and broke that. And then I eventually moved to the right answer, which was, a Mazda Miata axle. And so I learned that if you set the goal early and kind of have a very clear plan, this car took almost 12 years. The 360 only took 15 months. And it's not really because I spent that much more time on it. This build took, this build really did take about 4 times as long person hours as the 360 did, just because I didn't have that clear vision. It's like, it's a challenge car, it's an autocross car, oh, it's a track car, oh, it's a street car. And so without the clear vision, I was able to bring that forward to the 360 and make it a lot more effective right out of the box, because I had a clear vision for what I was trying to achieve with that car at the beginning. But this one has, through work and tuning and stuff, it's turned into a very fast car. I was able to get second in the GTU class in Autocross. I didn't drag race it because it's got 80-inch wheelbase, and there's nothing to prove on the drag strip with this car because it will launch very poorly. But you know, at Autocross, it was able to run second place to 2020 GT4, which there's no shame in losing to that car. You know, it's my garage engineering versus 3,000 engineers in Stuttgart, so I'm okay with taking the L on that one. So both builds are relatively well documented on grassrootsmotorsports.com, on the forum section. The 360 has a very extensive build thread. This build thread's a little sparser, but I've tried to document the builds well on the forum, so it's the best place to go. And I do post some stuff on Instagram and Instagram and YouTube at No Cones Garage.
Support brands who support grassroots motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. To learn more, visit crcindustries.com. Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.